Coming to you from a studio somewhere out there. It's Enough Already Radio with Fingers Malloy and Tracy O'Connor.
Morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Enough Already. My name's Fingers Malloy. She's Tracy L. Connors. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Fingers.
Do you have a brownie for me?
I do.
Like a regular brownie?
Mm-hmm.
She's a baker.
Sometimes.
I still have to look back at our messages from 4 or 5 months ago when you were doing the whole low-carb diet. Some of the stuff you'd send me, like a cheesecake.
Yes.
With there were carbs in it.
A few.
Right?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5.
Oh, good Lord. I could eat a whole cheesecake in one sitting.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you could eat that whole cheesecake, though.
Why? Was it rich, or?
It was.
Well, yeah, I got to do that. So, I scratched something off the bucket list this week.
Oh, yeah?
As you know, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Foo Fighters in concert, ever.
Oh.
In 23 years of the band's existence. So, last minute, I decided to go see the Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They played by my house, which was nice.
Wow.
So, this is what happens. See if this would be a little bit of a downer for you. I'm guessing no, because you're one of the things I like about you, Tracy, is you don't really give a shit about other people's feelings.
Mm.
So, listen to this. Trying to get tickets. Try to score tickets. I want pavilion seats. It's in an amphitheater in Indianapolis. And lawn seats are still available, but I've been waiting 23 years to see this band.
Mm-hmm.
I want pavilion seats. So I get on StubHub, and they're ridiculous. There were seats in the orchestra pit where it's standing room only, like you could be like 5 feet from Dave Grohl, going for $3,200.
Jesus.
Now, I like the Foo Fighters, but that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Pavilion seats, we're going for, anywhere from $160 to $210, sometimes even higher on StubHub. And I didn't want to pay that either. I checked out the neighborhood page on Facebook, and a guy was selling 2 pavilion seats face value.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, cool. Hit them up. They're still available. You're always a little wary about doing a deal like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this guy, but he lives in the neighborhood. He posts on the neighborhood page a lot. I figured, well, if this whole thing turns out to be a scam, at least I can badmouth him on the neighborhood page and hopefully publicly shun him for screwing me over. So, in the process of the transaction, he tells me, well, I have these tickets, but I got other tickets. Me and my dad are going to go. It's going to be fun. So I just thought I'd throw these on here. I got better tickets. Okay, cool. So I bought the tickets. 2 hours later, about 2 hours before the show, I get a Facebook message from this guy. Oh my gosh. And by the way, the whole thing was legit. I sent his payment for the tickets through PayPal. He sent me tickets through the app, the Live Nation app. So the tickets were in my account. This wasn't these are fake tickets or anything like that, or I'll send you an email with a link. It was nothing like that. It was like, okay, these tickets are officially mine now. They do something when you transfer tickets from one owner to another digitally, that they change the barcode and everything. So these were my tickets.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours later, he hits me up. Oh my gosh, the tickets I purchased through Craigslist in the pit for the show, it was a scam.
Oh.
Is there any way you could sell me those tickets back? And I'm looking at this going, are you kidding me? I'm sympathetic. to what's going on here, but at the same time, it would never occur to me if I sold tickets to someone and I have their money in my hand to go back 2 hours later and say, "Can you give me my tickets back?"
Oh, see, I probably would have done that.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Continue.
So I looked at it and I was like, "Well, no, I'm sorry."
Oh, wow.
Oh, you're surprised? You would have given the
Yeah.
tickets back?
Probably.
Wow. So you're thinking I was a dick?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But good for you.
Well, I was
Did
like,
you
hey,
enjoy the seats?
they're fantastic. They're I would say maybe I was 200 feet away
Uh-huh.
and stage center. I
Wow.
mean, right in the middle. I took some kick-ass photos. Got some good video. Oh wow! You would have sold him his tickets back, and then tried to find tickets somewhere else.
Yeah.
Wow!
'Cause that sucks.
But I took the night off of work and everything. I moved like heaven and earth to go to the show, and then okay. Well,
I understand. Don't feel bad.
well now I feel bad. I mean, if you would have sold it back, I mean,
Yeah.
I just figured you would have went. Pfft.
No. That sucks.
Who buys tickets on Craigslist?
I don't know. You should stay away from Craigslist. It's Scam Central over there.
You think you're meeting someone to get tickets. Next thing you know, you're trapped in a hotel room with a ball gag in your mouth.
Yeah.
Missing a
Missing
kidney.
a kidney. Uh-huh.
Wow, okay, well. Apparently I screwed up.
No, you didn't.
The show was great. I know you're not a big Foo Fighters fan.
They're okay.
Put on a hell of a show. Hell of
Cool.
a show. So I can scratch that off the bucket list. My bucket list is pretty lame.
Yeah, is that the end of it?
Let's see. I already ate a cheesesteak in Philly, so that's off the
Okay.
bucket list. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah, I could die now. Wow. Fantastic. I don't know. So, did you have a good week?
Yeah.
Anything happen?
Nothing that I can think of that's worth sharing with the class.
Okay, then. Well, we don't have a lot to talk about this week. I mean, you and I talked about this off the air, and there's just not a lot that's really interesting going on.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's outraged about a lot of things. I shouldn't say everybody. The media, the continuing outrage over the latest Trump news, whatever that is. When you're listening to us, I'm sure something new has allegedly happened. But I did see something funny on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
As you know, and as many people know, someone destroyed Donald Trump's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Two people showed up yesterday dressed as Russian soldiers to guard what was left of the star.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, say what you want. Yeah, it's funny. So there are pictures of that all over the internets. But, I noticed you threw some stories in there in our little show prep doc about the straw ban.
Ugh.
It's maddening. I didn't even know. This is just amazing to me how this stuff just sneaks up on you. How, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And then it's the biggest deal in the history of deals.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks ago, I was heading back from vacation, and I needed a caffeine boost. And so I went to Starbucks. And I like my coffee and dessert in the same cup.
Okay.
So they had this salted caramel cold brew. which apparently it's cold brew, and then it's got a dessert topping on top of it, and they put it in a plastic cup. Mm-hmm. And so I ordered it, and they handed it to me, and it came in a sippy cup.
Okay.
And I was like, what? Where's my straw? What the hell is this? I drink cold brew with 6 inches of froth dessert topping on top of it without a straw. I'm like, we don't use straws anymore. We don't hand them out. Oh, okay. Why is this? And, you get on the Google machine, and you find out now straws really are the most evil thing that you could possibly use now on the planet. I saw someone say that they're going to start drinking their coffee through their assault rifle. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And you have a story for where this all started. And it's amazing.
It's insane. It started with some kid who was 9 years old making up a number. You think I'm joking? This kid, his name is Milo Kress. So this is from USA Today. He started a campaign in 2011 called Be Straw Free, which he launched to raise awareness about plastic waste. Mm-hmm. So his big finding, Americans use more than 500 million drinking straws daily. Enough to fill 125 school buses. What a weird thing to...
Yeah.
How many... I don't think this kid can do math that well, but... Let me figure out the volume of a school bus and then... Anyway. So it says that figure has become highly touted since, referenced in straw ban coverage from the New York Times and National Geographic to reports from the National Park Service. So where did he get that? He made it up.
Of course.
So it says he began to dig into research on plastics and the environment, and he noticed there wasn't too much data. So he says, quote, I couldn't find anything on our use of straws. So he called straw manufacturers and asked them what they estimate to be the straw market in the United States per day.
Okay, and this kid was 8 at the time?
9, yeah.
I call bullshit.
Potentially. Well, who knows? I mean, but that's just the funniest thing. So it says some gave him a yearly estimate, which he divided by 365. So there are 330 million approximately documented Americans.
And then the 900 or the 90 million, and I'm just throwing that number out there because apparently we could just make numbers up. The 90 million people living in the shadows sucking on their straws.
But if we just go with the 330.
Okay, fair enough.
And say 500 million straws are used a day, that means each one of us is using approximately 1.5 straws per day. And I don't know about you. I mean, I guess I did go out last night, had a straw. It was my only straw of the day.
Well, the other thing, too, is, if people just look at this and think, okay, the fast food straws.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I eat a lot of fast food.
Yes.
So I go through a lot of straws. But if you go to the bar and you get a mixed drink and they give you that little cocktail straw, are we counting those too?
It's a plastic straw, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're like me and you have 10 or 12 drinks at the bar that night, that's 10 or 12 straws right there.
Yeah, you're up in the average.
Yeah.
You're the one using all the straws that I'm not.
Yeah,
well, and in a restaurant, I want it in I don't know. I don't want to put my mouth on restaurant glasses, really.
No. I mean, the only thing that gets me through drinking out of a restaurant glass is knowing that there's alcohol in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to, here's a glass of water. Oh, great. I don't want a straw. I want to drink it out of this semi-dirty glass that you spent 3 seconds washing.
Yes.
And probably has Cuban Super 8s on the side of it.
But my question, this seems to be all about the plastic in the ocean, I guess.
Yes.
And my question is then, how is it that straws are ending up in the ocean? Do they not go in the same trash as everything else?
Well, they have a special straw dump.
Oh.
They separate it.
Mm.
And then they send it to a dump in Los Angeles. So, and then it ends up in the ocean. Yeah, I've wondered that for a long time too. It's like, okay, how is my straw that I just used in my shake, which, by the way, good luck drinking a shake without a straw.
Yeah.
Gonna end up choking out a sea turtle.
Right, but the rest of it, the cup, the plastic lid, that's fine. That makes it safely to wherever they're going to bury it in the ground.
Well, that's the thing. I talked to my 8-year-old. I showed her my sippy cup from Starbucks. And she made some phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
And according to my 8-year-old, there's more plastic in the new Starbucks sippy cup that they hand out for cold brew than there was with the old cup and a straw combined. That's according to my 8-year-old. So,
wow, she's very industrious.
Well, you know, she is the daughter of Fingers Malloy, the science boy. So, she's one of our top scientists at the Fingers Malloy Institute of Science.
You're raising them right.
That's right. So, she's available for all of you out there in the media for interviews. She's an environmental expert. And so I'm going to take her word for it and say that there's more plastic in the Starbucks sippy cup. And you look at it, you're like, what is this? It looks like something from the future. The lid on the top of it, the whole thing. And how are you supposed to drink it? Like I said.
Did you manage to drink your
Well, I
dessert?
drank all the froth. I tried to shake it up. I had nothing to stir it with.
Right.
So I would shake it up and then I would drink it and shake it and drink it. And then I hurt myself. I think I got tendinitis from the shaking of the drink. People are giving me strange looks at the side of the road. They see me shaking the drink and, you know, it looks awfully strange. Got pulled over. Accused of lewd conduct. Awful. All this because of some 8-year-old snot-nosed, 9-year-old snot-nosed kid calling around. Oh, how many 9-year-olds you know calling around wanting to know about how many straws people are using in a day, calling straw manufacturers? Really?
Yeah.
Let's get a fresh-faced 9-year-old. He could be the face of our movement.
Well, that's when they start really indoctrinating you in school with that stuff.
Yeah.
About that age. So.
I've got lefty friends that are into that sort of thing, and so then I started looking for things that they enjoy.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, kitty litter is really bad for the environment.
Oh, really?
So we really shouldn't have cats as pets.
No, probably not.
Or we got to figure out a way to train the cats to go outside and take a dump or a piss instead of peeing and shitting in a box in your house.
Ugh. It's so vile.
Oh, I made the mistake when we first moved to Indianapolis. I got a cat. Oh, they're terrible. They're awful. You know, it was a friend of mine said, you know, when a dog, if you were to die, a dog would lie down next to you and die. A cat would eat your face.
Yep.
Awful animals.
They are.
So,
But not as awful as this. California is considering banning people at waiters from offering straws.
Is it Santa Barbara?
Unsolicited straw offering. No, I think it's it's a House bill
Oh, this is for the whole state.
for the whole state.
Okay. Because California, or I believe Santa Barbara has an ordinance now where you could get 6 months Or a fine.
Right. I think it was there and maybe Davis, California. They already have this crap. But this is a Reason article saying Ian Calderon wants restaurateurs to think long and hard before giving you a straw. So he's the Democratic majority leader in the California's lower house. And he introduced a bill to stop sit-down restaurants from offering customers straws with their beverages unless they specifically request one. So under his law, a waiter who serves a drink with an unrequested straw would face up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000.
Isn't there a scene from Game of Thrones where a woman is going down some sort of alley and she's ringing a bell and she's saying, shame?
Everybody's shaming her. Yeah.
Oh, everybody's shaming her? Yeah. So we're going to have that whenever someone requests a straw at a restaurant in California.
Yes.
There'll be straw shaming.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
This came out of... Look, I know this is, what 2011, this kid, this snot-nosed little rat started this.
Uh-huh.
It feels like, even though this apparently started in 2011, it feels like this just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Out of and just in the last month. Now everyone's talking about, oh, you shouldn't use a straw, you shouldn't use a straw, you shouldn't use a straw. It's maddening. I did a little joke video that I tweeted out. I started unwrapping what I was hoping was a paper straw and was a regular straw, and I let out 3 blood-curdling screams. I've talked to people that used to have to use paper-based straws.
Mm-hmm.
They say there's a reason why we switched over to plastic. They suck. And how are these? If we choose another material that they believe will be more environmentally friendly, they never look at those environmental impacts. It's just like, oh, we're switching to something else. If it's a paper straw, I don't know, Tracy.
No. Well, it's like the plastic bags and the paper bags.
Yeah.
It takes more energy to make the paper bags, and you got to chop down some trees. And...
Right. Then they bitch that we're chopping down too many trees.
Yeah, of course.
You're really
never
not
going to be happy.
You're really not supposed to use anything to make your life more convenient. You shouldn't be on this planet.
Nope, not at all. I did just see at the bottom of this article, it says that they have an update where they spoke to a senior assistant to this Mr. Calderon, and they're going to remove the fines from the bill. It doesn't say they're going to remove the jail time.
Listen, it's a lot easier to hassle a poor server at an Applebee's about handing out straws willy-nilly than it is, I don't know, fixing your budget crisis or your homeless crisis, or name the crisis out in California. It's just easier to pass a new. You're gonna have to have some sort of TSA, the SSA, out in California, that you just have 3,000 people in a state agency going around to different restaurants to see if they're handing out straws willy-nilly.
Uh-huh.
I want to open up a restaurant in California and call it It's Raining Straws.
Well, I was doing a little bit of cleaning out of my cabinets yesterday, and I must have had 200 plus plastic bags. And I thought about sending them to California. A great bag exchange.
Wow.
But I guess in Seattle, they've already done this. They've banned plastic straws and utensils. You're not allowed to offer those at a restaurant.
So how are you supposed to eat?
Well,
takeout.
Fingers. You're supposed to take it home and eat it.
Wow.
But only with silver utensils, please.
I did see a friend of mine post a picture of Johnny Cash back in the late 60s, early 70s, sitting in a bush clearly intoxicated, eating cake with his hand. Like he had a whole cake, and it was smeared all over his face.
Nice.
And
That's what they want us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want us all sitting in the bush, eating with our bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun with Chinese food. Wait, here's the thing, too. Are chopsticks environmentally friendly?
I suppose.
But we're chopping down trees for this.
Yes.
That doesn't seem right.
No. Well, you'll remember when that was a big deal when we were younger.
Yeah.
Remember, the rainforests were disappearing.
Yes.
Gone. The hole in the ozone layer was going to kill us.
Sting is still singing about the rainforest.
I know. You should ask Fingers Malloy Jr. of the Science Institute what she's learning about that in school. They've even mentioned the words rainforests and ozone hole.
Oh, that's so last week. Last year, last decade.
Yeah, it's so 1980s. And the acid rain was going to get us.
Oh,
too.
yeah, that's true. Acid rain. Those problems have been solved.
No, the hole in the ozone still exists. Told you, NASA has like a hole in the ozone tracking site.
You know what causes the hole in the ozone layer? Plastic straws.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. That's what my 6-year-old neighbor was telling me the other day. She made some phone calls. She's available for interviews, too. I'm sure she'll get like 10 calls now. Because she's on the right side of the narrative. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I can't. When I go to a sit-down restaurant, it grosses me out, the idea of drinking. And, you know, it's really funny. I don't think of it much when I order a beer.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get a pop or a water, I don't know if it's because of the ice or what, but no. I don't want to drink out of the side of the cup. The glass. I worked in a bar. I see how they wash glasses.
Yeah, they don't. They just dip them in some water.
Yeah.
Real quick. And use a dirty rag around the edge.
Right?
No, thank you. I'll just start carrying straws in my purse.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
And then you'll have someone from the SSA walk up to you and ask you where you got that straw. Did that waitress, they'll already have the handcuffs out. That waitress offer you that straw? Well, no, I brought my own. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's the latest with the straws.
These are the biggest problems facing humanity today.
This is the thing. They feel like they need some victories.
Yeah.
Even if they're small victories, they feel like they need a win somewhere. I mean, we've been hearing about this blue wave that most likely will not happen.
Yeah.
And
dissipated to a ripple at this point.
Right. And so the day after the election, if they don't get the Senate or the House and Donald Trump is still president of the United States, there's going to be tons of wailing. But at least they can point to Starbucks and California and say, well, you know what? We're making some progress. We've got straws banned.
Mm-hmm.
Banned. That's the next step. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. I don't know how anybody can live out there. I'm told it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. But it's not worth the trade-off.
This is insane. Why a state representative? This is what's on his plate. This is the most important issue facing California right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that really, really expensive choo-choo train that they're building? Is that still going on over there? What do they spend, like $75 billion on this high-speed rail project?
Yeah, it's 10 years behind schedule and 2,000% over budget.
Well, you got to get all the payoffs.
Well, that's what a 9-year-old told me that. So
Yeah.
he made some phone calls.
I've never understood the whole high-speed rail thing. Just because I can't stand riding on a train.
Oh,
They derail.
occasionally. You have a lot of irrational fears.
Well, just how can any government agency monitor the safety of those tracks? Like, even from a terrorist attack, you got 400, 500 people riding on a train going 180 miles an hour down the tracks, and then you got someone who looks like those little cartoons, the guy with the black trench coat and the top hat. Mm-hmm. Was it Snively Whiplash? What was it?
Snidely?
Snidely?
I don't remember, but sure.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
He goes to the Acme warehouse and gets some dynamite. Mm-hmm. You can't monitor 300 miles of railroad tracks for that shit. These are the things that keep me up at night, Tracy.
I know. Even though, how many car accidents have you been in at this point?
Let's see. A baker's dozen, I think.
You're worried that Snidely is going to go to the Acme store, get some dynamite, and blow you up.
Yes, me.
Yes.
I'm the target.
Well, you are a straw smuggler.
That's true. But no, do you enjoy train travel?
Not particularly. Sometimes it's more efficient than car travel.
Well, you got that whole Philly to New York to DC.
Yeah.
Amtrak thing. It's more of a thing out there than it is. Not too many people are taking Amtrak in Indiana. You can't even do it.
No?
Well, I take that back. You can. But say if I wanted to go to Chicago, I can get to Chicago via Amtrak, but all they're doing is they're putting me on a bus.
Oh.
And then once I get to Chicago, I can take the train and go somewhere.
That doesn't help. That doesn't speed anything up.
No. Bus travel, that's where it's at. It's reliable. You get on these Bolt bus or the Mega bus. You're spending $6 to go 400 miles. You don't know if you're going to make it there. The bus may break down on the side of the road. But the Whiplash guy, Snidely, he's not there with a stick of dynamite blowing up your track. I can tell you that. There, I think we've established I'm crazy.
Yes.
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? Like I said, it's just like we're looking through news stories today. Like,
Yeah.
I was interested in the. I did pull up one story. You know, you lived in Venezuela for a while, and things have gotten so bad there. I don't know what the rate of HIV is in Venezuela. I don't have an 8-year-old making phone calls to find out.
No. Get her to work.
Right? Well, she's working on the straw thing right now.
Okay.
But
what's her timeline on that?
Well, it depends on if she gets the government grant or not. But so, everything's going to hell in Venezuela.
Yes.
It was going to hell many years ago. I mean, you go there and you can't flush toilet paper down the toilet.
Yeah, it was already hell. They just they upped their game. So
I saw the apparently donkeys are a thing in Venezuela.
Sure.
And the donkey population is plummeting because people are killing donkeys to eat them.
At what point do these people just overthrow their government?
They're too tired and hungry, apparently.
I guess so. That's a pretty good way to keep them quiet.
Yeah. But how long can you... The thing is, if you've gotten to the point where, say you've got a donkey that you have had in the family for a while to drag whatever stuff you need moved in the city or the countryside, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you've gotten to the point where you have to kill Sprinkles the donkey to survive. At some point, wouldn't you say, you know what? Our government keeps blaming rich people in the United States for all this. Maybe they're off base. I just had to go out in the backyard and kill Sprinkles the donkey to feed my family. And this has been going on way too long. Someone should do something. Meanwhile, in California, they're banning straws.
Yes.
So anyway, it's bad in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I came across this story in the Miami Herald where people who have HIV in Venezuela, obviously, if you can't get food, if people are rummaging through dumpsters to eat, the state of medical care in Venezuela has to be shit as well.
Well, it was shit way before this. I don't know if I told you about the time that I didn't have to go to the hospital, but one of the people that was participating in the program that I was there for had to go to the hospital. She got very sick.
Okay.
And so I went to visit her. You know, I've got to see this beautiful, socialized medicine hospital.
Uh-huh.
I watched ants march across her gurney.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And what they told her to do was to go home. And next time she needed to relieve herself, to do so on newspaper or some other thing to keep it from getting on the floor, and then use a little plastic shovel-looking thing that you might eat gelato with.
Uh-huh.
To scoop some stool into a little cup and then bring it back to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I think if I were you, I would just die instead. Like, this is really, doctors are telling you, go home, spread some newspaper on the floor, have a squat, use this little shovel dealy in this little cup. And modern medicine, baby.
Was it dysentery?
I don't remember what it ended up being.
Good God.
Yeah. The only thing that I really did like about their medical versus ours is that you could walk into a pharmacy and go up to a pharmacist and tell them how you were like what was wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just give you stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
No prescriptions or anything like that. So it was convenient.
And they weren't even paying attention. Like, I could go up and say, my endometriosis is bothering me. And they would give me medicine.
There you go. Just take all the things, and that'll be 25 cents.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently it's not like that anymore.
No.
Because this poor chap in Venezuela, Jesus Eduardo Rodriguez, could no longer find his life-saving HIV medicine in Venezuela.
Where is the Clinton Global Initiative?
Right?
Weren't they handing out shitty HIV drugs to African countries a couple years ago? Where are they now?
They're with O.J. Simpson trying to find the real killers.
Okay.
So he no longer can get his HIV medicine in Venezuela. So he got on the Google machine. And he found a doctor. He needed to self-medicate. So he found a doctor who recommended buying dark green leaves. And mix them with water in a blender, and he drinks them. And the dark it's bay cedar.
Okay.
So basically, it's gotten to the point where they're using essential oils in Venezuela to treat HIV. You know how you always got the crazy essential oils lady on Facebook? Yes. Doesn't matter what your problem is. Just rub a little tea tree oil in between your thumb and forefinger. It'll take care of it. This is modern medicine in Venezuela.
so sad.
So, Bay Cedar leaves.
But I love this in that piece. Even as the American nation sits atop a sea of crude decades of mismanagement and corruption, have gutted a healthcare system that used to be the envy of the region. And now, mind you, it was the envy of the region when I was there watching those ants march across that gurney and then hearing my friend being told to go home and shit on a newspaper.
I'm guessing the bar's pretty low.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine so. Well, don't you remember Hugo Chavez used to go to to Cuba to get his treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
envy of the region.
Yeah.
Well, in Guyana, they just give you some grape flavor aid, was it?
So there you have it. Your Venezuelan paradise, Tracy.
I know.
Do you ever communicate with that family that you lived with down there for how long were you there?
No, never. I was there for 4 months.
No, but is there anyone down there that lives down there that you communicate with?
Yeah, I actually recently got a little note from this woman that owned a restaurant that I went to almost every single day when I quit eating what they fed me at home when I learned what it was.
What were they feeding you?
Liver.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, no, thank you. I'll just go eat at the pizza joint. So I did. And she still owns the restaurant, I guess. I don't know how they're making any money. I mean, I was there in 2000 and I was routinely the only person, it started out, it was myself and one of my other friends. And then we started bringing like everybody that we went to school with there. And we represented the entirety of their business.
Wow.
Yeah. There were multiple times where we would go out to restaurants to eat and we'd be the only people there.
Was the food good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was Italian food. It's like you get a pizza or I ate gnocchi a lot.
I don't know what that is.
Gnocchi. You never had gnocchi?
No. What is that?
Oh, it's a pasta.
Oh.
It's delicious.
I ate a whole bag of egg noodles yesterday.
Good for you.
They were whole wheat egg noodles, though, so I'm sure they're good for me.
Of course. That makes it okay.
Well, anything else we should talk about, or should we wrap this up?
Well, it kind of seems like Trump might have won the first round of trade war.
Oh, with the EU?
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds because they made that grand announcement the same day where some auto manufacturers had their second quarter profit announcements, and they weren't good because of the steel and aluminum tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that the whole thing was a coincidence or was I'm sure it was a coincidence because you can't just summon the EU to show up, the spokesman for the EU at the White House the same day that these domestic automotive manufacturers make these announcements. But I'm always a little wary of these announcements because it's like, okay, we've got a deal, but we're still negotiating. So, okay, it sounds good so far.
Yeah.
I don't know, Tracy. The whole tariff thing. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, you talk to an automotive manufacturer. If you talk to an auto worker, it's amazing how many of them have flipped their opinions on tariffs. I talk to these because Trump is for them, so they've got to be bad. And I'm listening to Trump's rhetoric on trade, and this was his rhetoric that was in the wheelhouse of the Democratic Party for decades until NAFTA. And and even some, especially Midwestern Democrats, were still like, okay, we need fair trade. We need fair trade. We can't put up with countries putting huge tariffs on our goods, and then we turn around and let them just have a free reign in our market without any tariffs. So it's amazing how people have flipped because their team isn't the one that's pushing the ball down the field when it comes to tariffs and trade. But I mean, how long are you supposed to put up with this?
Yeah,
and be like, it's totally cool that okay, China is going to put this huge tariff on this particular good, and we're going to let them just have at it in our market. I mean, how long are you supposed to put up with that without saying, well, this is bullshit?
Yeah. Apparently forever.
Yeah.
And I think it's really difficult to disagree with this point that Trump made. This is from an ABC story. It says, this is him talking about the meeting he had with dude from the EU, Jean-Claude. We agreed today, first of all, to work together towards zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, and zero subsidies on non-auto industrial goods. So if that's the end game, I'm down. And I think that's what this always was. And I got annoyed with people that are like, oh, my God, this is going to be so bad. It's going to be bad for a little bit, yeah, because you have to put your foot down.
Well, what's interesting about this is, back in the day when Democrats would talk about implementing tariffs like this, it was because they would point to the low wages in these countries and how American workers couldn't compete with that, so we needed to impose these tariffs on their goods. This is a different message. This is, I'm doing this not to protect American workers saying that they can't compete with these low wages. I'm doing this because I want all tariffs eliminated.
Right.
That's a different argument.
And that's actually free trade.
Yes.
And it's fair.
Yes.
So I'm okay with it. And I know it's not as simple as just saying, okay, we're getting rid of ours and you get rid of yours. Because they haven't done that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. It's a long game strategy. That people still don't understand how this man works.
It's all based on, again, a businessman and not a politician being in the White House. So there was a lot of freak out over the subsidies that were going to be handed out to farmers.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
No, I don't like it either.
But apparently this is new. We've never subsidized farming before.
No, ever. Not ever.
Until Trump came along. So, no, it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. I think he'll have more success with the EU than he will with China.
Well, I think that since they've caved, you'll see others caving.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to have to. We represent a huge market for them.
I hope that's the case. I mean, I don't know how, the common argument I hear from people on the right when it comes to this is that you've got the government picking winners and losers by doing this.
Okay.
But by letting China, for instance, impose, and I don't know the numbers, I don't have them in front of me. I think at one point it was maybe 25%. A 25% tariff on American cars being imported into China. I don't know if that number is correct or not. I thought I remember reading that at one point. And in not imposing that tariff back on Chinese vehicles being imported into the United States, you're picking winners and losers there. You're picking the American consumer over an American auto manufacturer, which is fine, but just admit what you're doing.
Right.
Don't get on the soapbox screaming about the government picking winners and losers when you're doing the same thing. And maybe this doesn't hit home for someone who is writing a blog post in Kansas or something like that. But for people in the Midwest who for years, many people in the Midwest are tied to the automotive industry. This is a big deal to people.
Mm-hmm.
My experiences with General Motors. General Motors has built factories in China, and they're importing vehicles from China into the United States, which that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there's an incentive for GM to do that.
Mm-hmm.
China's saying build a factory in our plant or our country.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Buicks coming back to the United States that are built in China, and I don't know how you can look an American worker in the face and say, listen, China is imposing a tariff if you build a vehicle and we send it to China, but to make it less likely for a Chinese person to buy that vehicle. But we're going to have GM build a plant in China, and so they can employ Chinese workers to build that vehicle, and we're going to import it back in the United States with no tariff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're cool with that because free trade, bitches.
Yep.
But we aren't picking winners and losers.
No, that's not what the government does all day, every day.
So I don't know if it's the answer, but I can tell you one thing. This message plays well in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if, say, these tariffs don't last very long. Say 6 months from now, there's a big announcement. There's been a breakthrough with the EU, and there are no longer any tariffs on any goods flowing between the United States and EU. And I know I'm overly simplifying this message, but that's going to be a huge victory for him.
Mm-hmm.
But then my question will be, President Trump will not be around forever.
Right.
No matter how much the left thinks that he's going to name himself president for life. He leaves office, and say a Republican becomes, say there's 2 terms of Trump, and then Mike Pence becomes president of the United States.
Oh, God. Does that mean that I have to wear a burqa?
Yes. You got to wear that red outfit.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. And the EU says, oh, Trump's no longer in office. We're going to impose tariffs on goods coming in from the United States. Will a Republican stand up to him or to the EU or to other nations that will start with the tariffs again? Or will they say free trade, bitches?
It's tough. It's a tough call.
I think we know the answer.
I don't know. I think when you get used to something, it's a little easier to fight for it once that initial battle's been won.
I don't know.
I know.
I mean, Reagan cut taxes, and George H.W. Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes. And then, a year and a half later, I'm taxing you, bitches.
It's true.
I mean, it's free trade. And if you even if you question it, these people are so passionate that you're a complete moron, and you're against free trade, which I don't know of anyone anymore who is against free trade.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just wait, how much of a tariff are they putting on our goods? What are they doing? Oh, you're against free trade.
Yeah. Well, they've bastardized the phrase, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean what you think it means.
I don't know. Well, I hope it all works out.
Me too.
Anything else?
Nah, I think we're good, unless you want to pick on our favorite socialist rising star again.
Oh.
Who can't keep her mouth shut. Or keep stupid things from exiting her mouth.
I thought you're gonna our favorite. I thought you were gonna say Meghan McCain, but
Oh.
what? Wait, so you said socialist. Oh, what did she do now?
Oh, you didn't. So you see her with I guess it was with Trevor Noah. I think she was on the Daily Show.
Oh yeah, she was explaining how she was going to pay for everything.
Yes. Which is, she's got brilliant ideas of how to do that we've never heard of before.
Can I paraphrase?
Sure.
So, oh my God, like Trevor. First we're gonna make the or the rich pay their fair share because they're paying their fair share, and then the corporate taxes, the corporations pay. We're gonna raise taxes on corporations, and that's not even. We're gonna raise it to 28%. It's not even what they used to pay. We're just gonna raise it to 28%. Between that and making rich people pay their fair share, that's $2 trillion right there. It's $2 trillion. And
over
then,
10 years.
Yeah, over 10 years. That'll pay for Medicare.
Nothing.
Or for all and education. Then, like, oh my God, like Trevor, we just gave the Department of Defense like $700 billion last year. They didn't even ask for it, Trevor. They didn't even ask. They were like, we're looking at him going, oh my God, we could be paying for college education. We didn't even ask for this nuclear bomb.
We don't want any of those things.
Yeah, that was pretty much it right there.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Future congressman.
Yes. And I love it. Chris Hayes on Twitter said he thinks that a good answer for how will you pay for your agenda is, we're a very rich country. We'll figure it out.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You guys are good with that? We'll just figure it out. I don't know. And he followed that tweet up with, well, after 9/11, we found literally trillions of dollars for war, massive increases in domestic security, an entirely new agency, ! And a Medicare drug benefit. No one spelled out how to pay for it ahead of time, and yet somehow it got paid for. No, it didn't. It's called a debt, dummy. We didn't figure out how to pay for it. We just borrowed a whole bunch of money that we still need to pay back.
And even if you want to point to the wars, it's a drop in the bucket compared to Medicare for all.
Yeah, I don't remember the numbers, but I can, contact a 9-year-old. I think they estimated Bernie's Medicare for all was going to cost $30 trillion over 10 years. Something like this. And I believe the GDP right now is around 18 trillion.
All I can picture is 15 years into Bernie's Medicare for all plan. I'm going to be laying on a gurney listening to ants marching.
Yes.
Talking about the good old days when I could go to the doctor and not have this problem and have young socialists telling me, oh, you're full of shit. It wasn't like that. The medical system, Medicare system, or the medical system was horrible until this all came to pass.
Yes.
Now we're in paradise. You won't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
If you have an issue.
No, we can just find trillions of dollars laying around. Remember when Krugman was saying we should make $1 trillion coin?
Yeah.
This is the answer that these people come up with, or these are the answers. We totally have the money. We just need to steal more.
My favorite story that pops up every, I'd say 3 or 4 months. There's always there's an opinion piece that'll pop up saying, we should just forgive all college debt.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great? Be great for the economy. Let's just forgive it. Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair to all the people before you who paid for their college education. It's totally cool to look at them and say, you know what, you're going to pay for mine. Because it'd be good for the economy to be totes fair.
Yeah.
It's not my fault you spent $70,000 on an archaeology degree. Why should I have to pay for that?
Because of fairness.
Yeah. Those are life choices, my friend. If you spent $70,000 on a useless bachelor's degree and you find yourself being hassled by a California politician because you're handing out a goddamn straw while you're a server at Applebee's, maybe you should reevaluate your life decisions. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I blame the public school system for all of this too. Remember those people called guidance counselors?
Yeah.
What do they do? They certainly don't sit you down and say, okay, what's your financial situation?
Right.
What are you thinking about majoring in? Okay. That'll pay about $25,000 a year forever. Maybe you can get a raise up to 30 someday. You might not want to take on a huge amount of debt. Maybe you should go to a trade school.
Well,
maybe you should just drive a truck and make $100,000 a year.
Yeah, here's where the whole guidance comes into play with that. Because if you are a high school senior, $30,000 sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, this is the home ec argument that we've had before, where it's just like they don't teach you the ec part
right
in home ec. Here's a Betty Crocker pre-mixed cake thing. Make that. I'm serious. That was one of the things I had to do.
No, you're right. I never thought about that until you brought it up recently. They don't teach you real life skills. Mm-hmm. How to balance a checkbook.
Right.
How to apply for a mortgage.
Right. What are all the things that you have to pay for?
Yeah.
Let's just list it out.
You know, it's even amazing to me when I'm reading this piece about our friend in Venezuela who is rubbing tea tree oil on his heel to treat his AIDS.
Bless his heart. I felt bad laughing at his expense. But
God bless him. He had Google.
Yeah.
He was able to look that up at least.
Mm-hmm. It's I've got 2 kids, and I can't sleep at night thinking about what the future is going to be like, and I know all parents have felt that way through the generation after generation after generation. But how much college costs have exploded over the past 20, 30 years because of student loans. Kids just walk in and they just sign up. Oh, I can go to this school. I just got to sign this piece of paper. Oh, and I'll pay it back later. Okay. And then they got a piece of paper from the college that they've completed their requirements and they have a bachelor's degree, and then they've got $70,000, $80,000 in student loan debt that they're expected to pay off in 10 years. Yeah.
I mean, for some people, that's a mortgage that they get to pay it off over 30. You got to pay that off in 10. I don't know. Trade school.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you're an 8-year-old and you're doing studies on straws, calling around straw manufacturers, and your parents are asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I know it's not glamorous to say a plumber or a welder, but they make mad bank.
Yeah. And that job's not going away.
Right. It's going to be tough to find a plumber robot.
Mm-hmm. At least in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wild how expensive school's gotten. I'm looking at I went to Penn State 97 through 2001,
mm-hmm.
and I think room, board, and tuition I was at $10,000 a year maybe, and now it looks like with room and board and tuition you're at 31 for an in-state student
a year.
If I'm reading this correctly, yeah, because it says tuition and fees and then additional estimated costs, which I don't really understand what that means.
A year.
Yeah, room and meals. Yeah, that's what it is. And then books and stuff. Yep, so 31.
You're looking for you're looking at $120,000 plus.
Yep.
For a degree.
To go to a state school.
And it could be something like a degree in communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
It's crazy, and to think that it's one of the biggest schools. So you've got at main campus 40,000 undergrads. They're just printing money.
Well, I go back to the first 4-year university that I attended. It used to be a commuter college, Saginaw Valley State University. They had like 2 dorms.
Mm-hmm.
It catered to the kids in the area. I go to that campus now, and I haven't really stepped foot on the campus, but it's by a major road going through Saginaw, my hometown, and I'll drive through there, and the camp it's got to be 8 times the size it was back in 1990, and there's student housing and all the other stuff. I'm sure there's a water park.
Probably.
It's like, what is this? This was like a little commuter college, and it's exploded. And I'll have to now. I'm not gonna do it now, but I've got to go and see. I think, if I remember, back in 1990, I went to a school. I got my associate's degree at a community college. It's called Delta College. I think it was $45 a credit hour.
Yeah.
And it was the best move I could have ever made, because the damn credits transfer over. The university took them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Saginaw Valley State at the time I went there in 93. It was something like $90 a credit hour. So, I mean, you're getting out of there. I don't know. I didn't actually graduate from SVSU. I moved down to Indiana, and eventually I graduated from IU. But I got to go back and look and see how much it costs now, because I guarantee I can't imagine a community college has gone up that much. I mean, $45. $45. I mean, but I haven't stepped foot on Delta College's campus since 1993. Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
But it's outrageous. Where else do you see costs going up that much?
Nowhere. LTVs have gone down.
Right.
Okay, it's $100 per credit hour at Delta. It was $45.
So that's, more than doubled.
That's for Michigan. Oh, in district. I didn't even know that there was a district in community college. Then Michigan residents, $170.
Wow.
And out-of-state residents would be paying $320 per credit hour for a community college. That's insane. Holy crap. I mean, this place, I hate to say this about the place where I got my associate's degree, but it was like it was a high school.
Uh-huh.
It was the size of a high school. Can I tell you my first experience with I took an English class.
Mm-hmm.
And the associate head of the department was my instructor, my professor. And she handed out the syllabus. And this sticks with me. This was 28 years ago, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions about the syllabus, don't be afraid to ask. And if you're going to ask me a question, be pacific about it.
Nice. Was this Sheila Jackson Lee was teaching?
And I'm looking at this syllabus thinking, this woman is an English teacher in college. She's like the associate head of the department.
Oh,
and she just pulled, ask a question and be pacific about it.
You should have raised your hand and said, "Can I get my money back?"
Actually, I thought to myself, wow, I'm taking this class. She said, ask a question, be pacific about it. It's an English class that will transfer to the University of Michigan.
That's true. Did you get an A?
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Thanks. The bar was very high. It was set high.
Clearly. Rigorous academic standards.
Yeah, and you can tell this is why I'm a master of the English language.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where
People say that often about you.
Yes, it's true. Fingers Malloy, the science boy, is also a master of the English language. I've got quite a command. So if you ever want any questions answered, don't be afraid to ask me.
Yeah, but be Pacific, please.
Yes. I think I'm done here. You done here?
Yeah, I think you should get back to your science.
Yeah. Remember,
Please.
you can always find the Enough Already podcast on Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, iTunes, YouTube, and BitChute.
Your favorite.
I love BitChute. Final thoughts, Tracy?
I've got to come up with some new science for your daughter to investigate.
Oh, please
for us.
do.
I do think we should start that as a weekly little segment for her. Just have her start calling people and asking questions, and let's see what kind of movements we can get started.
That's a good idea.
It can be an offshoot of Scam Pack.
I just renewed Scam Pack
Nice.
on GoDaddy, even though I don't know what we're going to do with it. But we still
Something.
have it.
Someday.
Yeah. All right, she's Tracy. I'm Fingers. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new Enough Already.